I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Kevin Goldberg, Vice President and First Amendment expert at Freedom Forum. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me.
Really excited to talk about this. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to talk about this too because as you and I were talking earlier, this almost seems like a tennis match. It seems like a ping pong match of lawsuit after lawsuit, accusations after allegations, and I would love for you to break it down for us in the legal standpoint. So we are talking about It Ends With Us and the drama surrounding that between actors Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. So I want to go through a timeline here, a rough timeline that has a few key parts. So before Christmas, Blake Lively filed a complaint in California accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment and orchestrating a smear campaign against her. These claims and more were featured in the New York Times article entitled "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine." And that was a lengthy article. So then, a little over a week later on New Year's Eve, Lively filed a lawsuit in New York federal court against Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and others for, quote, retaliating against her for reporting sexual harassment and workplace safety concerns. Then on the same day, Baldoni filed a libel lawsuit against the New York Times in the neighborhood of $250 million over the paper's report on Lively's story. So you see this timeline, you hear those initial facts. Break it down for us. What sticks out to you as a lawyer?
Well, my expertise is in First Amendment law, so really what I've been following most closely is the last part of that sequence. And you're right, it's a lot. But the lawsuit by Justin Baldoni against the New York Times alleging 4 different counts: defamation, false light invasion of privacy, promissory fraud, and breach of implied contract. And it is a 90-page complaint with a lot of factual allegations in there. We can talk about why they might be in there or what that means. But really what we are seeing here is a different way of having your back and forth, your conflict play out in courts.
Let's talk about what is in those almost 90 pages there. When you're looking at that, when you're seeing different text messages, different facts, different claims, what sticks out to you? And does he have a strong case against the New York Times?
Well, it is a lot of factual recitation and probably 2/3 to 3/4 facts, and then they get to sort of the legal claims at the end. And what we have to understand here is anytime a public figure, that's what the law calls a celebrity in these defamation cases, and that would include not only Justin Baldoni, but I think his production company, Wayfarer Productions, as well as the PR people and others that are joining him as plaintiffs in this lawsuit. Anytime that these public figures bring a defamation lawsuit, they have a really high bar to overcome. They have to show a number of things, and the burden is on them to show all these things, that the Times had made a materially and substantially false assertion of fact about them that was published with something called actual malice and that caused actual damages. And I think the biggest thing that I want to hone in on is that actual malice term. It means that the Times could get some of the facts wrong. They could even get some of the facts really wrong, as long as they did so with the best of intentions. They're only going to lose this lawsuit if the plaintiffs can show that they knew what they were writing was wrong, or that they should have known what they were writing was wrong, and that they went ahead with it anyway. And again, that's a really high bar. It's designed to deter people like Justin Baldoni from bringing these lawsuits and instead force them into the public sphere to respond to allegations through a press conference or a published statement. So it is a big step for them to take this and go to court with it.
Do you think that his claim shows that there was actual malice here? I know there was one text message that hinges on an upside down smiley face and the New York Times not showing that, because an upside down smiley face, anyone who texts understands that when you put that, and the lawsuit says this, that it's commonly used to convey irony, sarcasm, joking, or a sense of goofiness or silliness. So the upside down smiley face changes the whole meaning of that text, but is that enough? Does that show actual malice? Does anything in there show actual malice?
Well, the crux of their case, as I read the complaint, wasn't even about what was in there. It was about what wasn't in there. It's specifically what wasn't in the article. The main claim out of the 4 we talked about is the libel claim, and also we can call it defamation. And really what the plaintiffs are claiming is that the Times took a lot of the communication, specifically a lot of these text messages, which, as you note, are laid out in the complaint, and cherry picked the ones that they thought would best convey their view of what they wanted their story to say. Now, if that's true, I think that could demonstrate actual malice, because that's what you have to show. Again, you have to get into the mind of the reporter and the editors and say, well, clearly you harbored doubts and you went ahead with them, either intentionally or against anybody's best judgment. You were intentionally trying to mislead people, or took reckless disregard of truth or falsity. So again, I think, and the complaint comes back to this. I think it's really about what they chose to put in, but as much what they chose to leave out.